I did a lot of cars. Les actually was a very, very creative man. I mean, he does some beautiful fabrication. He called me up one night and he said, you know, why don't you come down? He said the car that actually Roger Moore was going to drive in the movie Live and Let Die. He said, you know, do one of your pearl paint jobs on this, you know. I said, yeah, okay. And just like it was yesterday, it was freezing cold, snowing. I'm coming from Mine Hill, New Jersey to Boonton, and I walk into the shop, and it was a bad snowy night. The heat was on, and coffee and donuts, and there was, you know, the car all ready for paint. I'm like, whoa, put a nice, you know, pearl paint job on it.
But I love him as a person and a friend, but like I had said in previous, he's a fabricator, he's a designer, he's a builder. And what he was building was hot at the time. Everybody wanted one, whether it be the Corvette or the Cabalista. The Cabalista I personally like because he took that miniature Eldorado and he made something that was completely custom.
A Cadillac was building Eldorados, and you couldn't get an Eldorado in the 70s. It was a hot thing to have. If you didn't have an Eldorado, you didn't have it. So I says, if I could create a small miniature Eldorado, my customers would have another car. That's something that Detroit can't do. And I did fancy paint jobs.
Oh yeah,
I did a lot of them. I did motorcycles. We never had any problems.
Nope.
And if someone came in and they wanted something that is, well, I'm going to go to the New York Coliseum, or I'm going to go to Cobo Hall, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, and I want you to paint the car, and I want you to do it.
Yep.
Time out. You don't want me to do it. I can build it, but if you're going to go into it for trophy, competition, detail, you don't want any gnats in this thing, you don't want a speck of dust in it, I says, go see Sonny. And if you're going to go into a car show in competition today, you got to go in with a good pocketbook. But you could have the biggest pocketbook in the world and have the wrong builder.
Correct.
And you're not going to win.
Perfect. You know, and then all these kids are like, well, how come you're not just...
You're not.
Look, listen, don't, you know, and I'm cut, and I'm just, you know, leave me alone. And I even put in, again, the 69 Cadillac taillights and the 40 Chevy on an angle.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, they're fiberglass fenders, how are you going to do it? I said, I just said I'm going to do it. Watch me. You get a cardboard cylinder, you soak it in fiberglass resin, and they're all like, and then they thought they learned it. The one guy all of a sudden is chopping the top of it. I said, you have spent a couple of weeks or a month with me. You're looking at 46 years of stuff I can show you. Yeah. You think you're ready to book because you just learned how to chop that top and put a set of taillights in? Guys, come on!
They're going to make mistakes that took us 30 years to figure out. And if they knew what that mistake was and how to correct it, they could cut that 15-year learning program down to maybe 10. Or if they're really good, maybe down to 5. I feel a soft spot in my heart for the guys that don't have that money. And they are in the cruise nights. And they're the ones that are coming up with rat rods.
Yep.
And I still go back to the childhood days.
Yep.
And those guys will be the next. There's somebody will spring out of that that era of people and hopefully jump in their shoes, step above us because we're the old dogs, and take this whole sport to another level.
There's no such thing as a perfect year or a week or a month or whatever, but I had a lot of good memories of things I've done. I really loved it, and I looked at it as family.